Painting clear coat is tricky enough to get right, but when it goes wrong and you get like little bubbles coming up through the clear and ultimately you're standing there and you're going, crap, what did I do wrong? Well, what you're experiencing is solvent pop, and it's pretty common, but there's really just a few things that cause this, at least throughout all my 20 years of painting, and I figured making a video about this was somewhat useful. This question came from Make It Match, a little community that I've put together over on school.com, where I teach automotive painting, everything that you need to know from like A to Z. And every week I go live answering questions just like this. This is part of Make It Match Premium. But first I want to go over the question, and then I'm going to talk about the solution and how you can avoid having this happen, especially if you're working on cool things like guitars, instruments, wood, things that are causing solvent pop. So the question kind of started as this. The question is, I keep getting what I assume to be solvent pop issues. There are errant little bubbles in the clear that keep coming up. They do not seem to be little craters, fisheyes, as I can feel them raised above the surface. They occur in a single coat, which is weird. I'm using pretty light coats, 1.5 ounces of clear per clear coat for the entire guitar body. The clear is Tamco HC 2104. This is kind of like their upper echelon of clears. This is a really nice clear, but it's on the faster side of things. They also have HC 2105, which is a slower clear. Anyway, that's for a little bit later here. With medium reducer, 10% reduced with their medium reducer. Temps are around 65 to 75 degrees. Good. Humidity varies from 60 to 83%. I've sprayed it in both conditions with the same result. Gun is an ANI compact LVLP. Air compressor is a small 8-gallon oil-free. I do not have an aftercooler or good moisture trap. Is it possible that the moisture in the air is causing solvent pop or small bubbles? That's a great question, and I have a couple of questions to ask you first before we go there, but I'm just going to kind of shoot from the hip here and continue on. I wipe down the body with Duplicolor, degrease, dewax. Perfect. Strangely, this only seems to occur when I shoot straight clear. I've did spade mica powder in the clear for the metallic tinting and candy powder as well for the candy coat, and the clear did not seem to get these small little bubbles. There's some junk in there from dust debris in the spray booth, blah, 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 blah. So the question is, don't know if it's a gun issue, paint, compressor, etc. Maybe from the coats being too light or dry as I was trying to mitigate the solvent pop. Well, you're on the right track here. This is just a really cool project here. I can appreciate all the flake in this, but yeah, it looks like the clear is maybe a little dry. You probably could hose it on a little bit more, but I kind of get what you're doing. And a lot of this texture that you're seeing come through might be because of that mica. And as the clear cures, it's going to kind of pinch back and shrink, and it might be picking up actually the texture of the things that you've suspended in there. So what I would recommend in this instance, it looks like the path is the right one here, but I would sand down this whole body very carefully with like 800 or 1000 grit, enough to give it some tooth on it. Don't necessarily go crazy on these compound curves, the areas where it's going to be a little bit thinner right here on these edges around the body of the guitar. But what you're trying to do is kill all this gloss. You want to make sure that there's no gloss left, get it nice and matte. And then I would put another 2 coats of clear on it. And I would lay the clear down a little bit thicker. And I'm pretty sure what you're going to find is the solvent pop does not rematerialize as long as this is fully cured up. If you put your fingernail in it, like in the neck pocket or this little pickup cavity, I think that's what this is here. I'm not sure where the bridge would mount here on the guitar, but yeah, I would, press somewhere where you can make sure that the clear is hardened up all the way. And you might find that this just kind of flows out really nicely, but there's some steps that I want to help walk through that would make this even better. So yeah, my biggest question right off the bat here is, what is the primer that's underneath this? Because pretty much every time that I've had solvent pop be an issue, it's from a layer below that is still releasing solvents, because those bubbles are coming up as solvents are essentially working out of the substrate. And in the instance of this guitar, it could be maybe like an epoxy resin. If this was coated in some sort of grain filler or epoxy, maybe you smoothed out the body with like a high build primer of some sort. Maybe that didn't cure up all the way, or maybe there's just moisture in the wood. If it's in a really humid environment, that could also be something worth thinking about. But by and large, it doesn't look like it's happening all the time. And kind of mentioned that it was only when you used straight clear. So kind of an interesting scenario. So there's some little fixes here that I think I would do to get your final clear on this guitar body, like from here to here. And I want to go over those next. So I put together this goofy little diagram thing. So let's work through this here. And I want to explain some steps that would make this, ultimately this paint a lot better. Okay, so like what I was talking about here, a lot of times the solvent that causes these pinholes or little solvent pops, you've got like little bubbles that are stuck through the clear coat there. And this a lot of times is trapped solvent or trapped moisture trying to come out from somewhere down below. So maybe you have like your base coat's not cured up all the way, or every time I've had it happen, the primer hasn't been cured up. And back when I first started painting, I actually had a little bit of a scenario where the paint store wasn't selling me the right products and I was just reducing it and not activating my primer. And I didn't know better. I was like just right out of high school at the time. And it's a lesson that I can painfully tell now with a smile on my face, but back then it wasn't as much fun. And a lot of times the solvent would just pop up and it would just come up with like these little dots on the surface after I was done painting. It's super annoying when it happened, but yeah, I had to sand it all back down again and re-clear everything. So that's kind of what causes solvent pop for the most part that you're seeing here. And that's different than a fisheye, because a fisheye essentially occurs when there's a different surface energy on the material that you're working on. So that could be silicone or waxes or oils or something like that. And ultimately it causes the paint to not stick to that area because it wants to go to somewhere with a different surface energy. That's kind of what it boils down to. So definitely not fisheyes. I don't see that in the photos. You're definitely dealing with solvent pop or something like that, or something underneath that final clear coat that's still wanting to work up to the surface. So you might find that the surface is flashing off too fast, and you might be getting a skin on the top that the solvent can't escape through. The mica and the candy powder might be kind of causing the skin to form slower. It's really hard to say, and depending on the situations that you're spraying in, you might find that going to a slightly slower hardener or reducer for this clear, or moving down to the slow clear, might actually end up kind of preventing this, as everything can kind of like escape from the surface a little bit more uniformly. I guess there's not that, that first layer of clear that flashes off really quick that kicks, and then you have that nice cured layer on the outside. The problem with this, though, is you run the risk of getting a lot more dust and trash in your paint. The other thing that might be the culprit is moisture in the air, but judging that this doesn't happen every single time, I shy away from this idea a little bit. A lot of times I have moisture come about when the compressor's been running a lot. It gets really hot and it pumps hot air into the bottom of the tube. And then by the time it comes out at your paint gun, it's pretty cooled off, and that moisture like condensates in the lines, and you're left with little bits of water. But a lot of times when you see water, you'll see it like when it's really wet, you'll see like little droplets of water on top of the paint as you're spraying it out. If you even just go somewhere to like Harbor Freight Tools and you get one of these, like a desiccant pod, like this Merlin inline desiccant filter dryer, that might be a good option. MotorGuard also sells these, the Merlin ones. These are just easy to get and they're fairly inexpensive. So this would be something that I would, at the bare minimum, put at the base of your spray gun just to help mitigate any water that might be getting onto the panel. But I don't think that this is necessarily what's going on here. Another thing that you can do is you can run the paper towel test. So if you just get a paper towel and you hold it out in your hand, or you put it on a wall or something like that, and then just take your spray gun, whatever gun you're using there. I'll try to crudely draw out a little diagram here. Okay, and you've got your cup. My sketch is impeccable here, and you're spraying out, your clear coat there, and it's going out. So obviously, you don't want to spray your clear coat. Just don't have anything in this gun. It should be completely empty. And what you're going to be looking for is little droplets of water that are coming out with it, and you'll see them because it'll start to get with this air that's coming. And so make sure this is completely empty. And then just run air through this, pull the trigger all the way, and just let the air flow through the gun and everything like that. And look for droplets of water that get on this paper towel. If there's a bunch of stuff coming out, then you know that you've got a contaminated air source. That would be like the way I would test this out here. So what might be going on here is the clear is flashing over maybe a little bit too fast. Hard to say though. There could be trapped solvent or moisture beneath it. And my money's on trapped solvent somewhere down low. So I don't know exactly what primer is being used, but that would be the first thing I would look at. The other thing you could do is slow your clear down. So move your reducer speed, your activator down a couple temperature ranges. So if it's like 85 degrees or 75 degrees, you want to use a slow or maybe even an extra slow. And instead of adjusting the viscosity of it with reducer, which adds more solvent into the mix, and this could cause issues with solvent pop because reducer is a solvent, it has to flash off. Instead, heat your clear coat up a little bit, but you don't want to put it in the microwave because that's, like you said, that's kind of sketchy. Instead, I like to use a water bath, and it's just a matter of getting a big stock pot, something you would cook up some delicious, black beans in. I've never made them from scratch. They are so delicious. I would get a big stock pot, stainless steel variety, something that's like a gallon to 5 gallons worth of water, and fill it about halfway with water, and then just put it on an electric hot plate. And if you go on Amazon, you don't want to go too fancy. There's a lot of induction hot plates. You don't want anything like that. You just want a cheap little cooktop burner and put it on like medium temperature. Get it nice and warm. You can use an infrared temperature gun or maybe even just like a thermometer. Just dip it in there like a meat thermometer or something if you have that. And just wait for it to get up to like 100, 105 degrees or something like that. And then just put your clear, the hardener and the product in there. It doesn't matter if it gets all wet. You just want to make sure the lid's on all the way. And of course, dry them off before you go to pour out of that container, or else you run the risk of getting water mixed into the clear coat. But I find that this is a really good way to warm the clear, just an immersion bath. And you're going to be able to get a thinner clear that flows out nicer. But since it's warm, it cures quicker, more uniformly, since everything's the same temperature. So you get a smoother final finish and you get a product that cures a little bit faster and it doesn't run as easily. So just something to keep in mind. The other thing might be the compressor. As it works and it heats up, it might be dropping. The thing I would keep an eye on is the pressure gauge on the tank and make sure that it can supply adequate air pressure and you're not losing pressure as you're going. Of course, a nice small compressor like this is going to get rather hot as it works. So having a bigger reserve capacity and moving up to a 30-gallon tank is definitely the right idea. But you can get away with this. You just have to filter the air after the fact. So make sure you use a desiccant trap and a filter in line, maybe coalescing in a water trap on the wall, something like that to kind of separate everything off. But having a loss of air pressure, one that can't maintain that bare minimum pressure that the gun needs to see to be able to spray, that might be some of the texture that you're experiencing as well as you're painting. So yeah, water bath the clear if you're worried about it being maybe not quite warm enough. My guess is it's probably warm enough where you're at. The other thing is just maybe slow everything down a little bit and definitely get an inline desiccant dryer, a desiccant filter. They're not very expensive like that pod that I showed. And I would slow down the reducer or heat up your clear a little bit and just move a little bit slower on your passes. Don't necessarily put the gun closer to the body, but I think if you add a little bit more material, it should atomize a little bit better than this, and you should be able to get it just a little bit smoother, but it's looking really good already. Honestly, at the end of the day, it just all boils down to exactly how much work you put into one of these projects and how much fussing you want to do with it. Color sanding and re-clearing and everything else, flow coating a body like this is totally possible, and I think it would really help bring it up to the next level. Anyways, that's just all what comes to mind off the top of my head. I hope this is somewhat helpful, and if you're just getting into automotive painting and you're looking at doing a project just like this, well, I invite you to join me over on school.com, Make It Match, link down below in the description. And maybe you're already diving into automotive clear coat and you're thinking, well, I don't know anything about Tamco. I can't get that where I'm at, but I do have a couple paint distributors. Well, lucky for you, I have sprayed a lot of clear coats over the years, and I made a video ranking every single clear coat that I've used that comes to memory that you can watch here. You can see what works, what doesn't. It's all in this video here. I hope it helps.